Hello and welcome. On the bench today I have an HP ProLiant microserver. I purchased these as non-working, so today we're going to try and see if we can fix it. And in the end I'd like to try, if we can fix it, I'd like to try and install TrueNAS on it and make it a small NAS for home use. Now, if you follow this channel, I had one of these before. It was exactly the same machine and it was working. I just basically cleaned it, serviced it. I installed Open Media Vault on it. And it's been here under my desk. It's my YouTube archive with all the videos I've been making and all the footage, all the assets. And it's been working totally fine. I'm so impressed by this little server. I mean, this is pretty low power. You can get them for very little money most of the time. I mean, this is faulty, but I got it for 28 pounds, I think, and it's missing the RAM, so I'll have to add something on it. The one which is currently working, I think I got it for 30 pounds. I had to swap the power supply, not because it wasn't working, but because it didn't have enough juice for 6 hard drives. So while I'm happy with Open Media Vault, I wanted to give TrueNAS a go. I'm not sure whether it's going to work on such a low power server, but I'd like to give it a go. I'll tell you later why. But right now, let's focus on the machines. This machine was sold as not working, and the owner, well, they said hopefully it's just a power supply. We know when it's an eBay finding and it says it's just a power supply. Sometimes it's not just a power supply, but we'll take a look. Now, if it's just a power supply, I happen to have the power supply from the other microserver, which was working totally fine. Again, I had to replace it because it didn't have enough power, but for testing purposes, this is going to be fine. Anyways, the motherboard inside is an ATX motherboard. This is a AMD Turion system, so pretty low power, but it's just a regular, more or less. I mean, it's a custom HP whatever motherboard, but it's an ATX motherboard, and you can use any power supply to power it up. Now, this server, it was sold as upgraded. I think this has been that the previous owner tinkered with the server again before, and you can see from the back that we have a Noctua fan here at the back. So clearly the server was disassembled, the fan replaced. I don't find the original fan particularly noisy, to be honest. So I don't think that's I don't know, I wouldn't have installed a Noctua fan, but anyways, this is pretty dirty, so it will need a clean. But first thing first, I would say there's no point in powering this on because there's no RAM inside. At least it was sold with no RAM. I haven't tested it, so we'll do this together. But first thing first, I guess we need to take out the motherboard, fit the RAM on it, and then we can test it and see what happens. I like how modular this microserver is. It's absolutely amazing how easy to service it. If I remember right, this comes off, yes. Amazing, so I don't have to deal with the door anymore. Let's take out the motherboard, let's add some RAM. And first thing first, again, we'll test the system as it is. And then we'll see, we'll see what happens. If it doesn't work, we can try the other power supply. Oh my gosh, these are tight. The screws don't need to be so tight. They're just to hold the motherboard in place. Now I can see that this is the SATA cable. The locking mechanism is broken and the latch doesn't release anymore. So I'll have to push it manually with the screwdriver. There we go. And I'll take a look later, but I don't think there's any damage. I definitely see something here. I mean, that should be the USB ports. Hopefully nothing's happened. I don't think this is probably, when they removed the RAM to sell it, they just put it back incorrectly. I don't think that's the reason why it's not working. Well, I just wanted to show you. Oh my God, it's so stiff. Here is the motherboard. I don't see anything nasty here. It's a bit dirty, of course. Now, when it comes to RAM, this thing would work with DDR3. And I purchased some DDR3. This should be ECC, but unregistered. So that should work. It should be 16 gigabytes, and this apparently goes up to 16 gigabytes. I've got 4 sticks, because I'd like to upgrade my other NAS as well to 16 gigabytes. And I think at the moment, the other NAS doesn't have ECC RAM, it's just regular RAM. But just for testing purposes, because this is untested, I don't really know whether this is going to work or not, I have a regular stick of DDR3. What's the speed? I don't know, but I don't think it matters. Well, it might, but I feel a bit more comfortable using this than something that I've received through the post the other day and haven't tested. So this is like 2 gigabytes. Yes, this is 2 gigabytes. Let me stick this in. I don't think we need to put this back in the server, which is horrible. We can maybe give the power supply a quick test. And if it seems to be working, we can test it and the VGA is here at the back, and then I'll do a capture and we'll see whether this is working or not. Now, I'm not sure how much you can see that, but there's quite a lot of dust in these slots. So first thing first, I think I'm gonna blow the dust off from the whole motherboard, and then I'll use some contact cleaner. Because if I just plug the RAM in those slots as it is right now, it's never gonna work. All right, I got this little contraption just for breaking out all the voltages and to turn on the power supply. Let's give the power supply some juice through my current limiter just in case. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, I see 0 activity. I was expecting some capacitor charging. So maybe the power supply is dead. Now, do we have 5 volt standby? Yeah, that's this thing doesn't have 5 volt standby out of it. So I'll have to probe it through the connector. Not a big deal. It should be the purple wire, I think. Oh, okay. Am I actually plugged in? There's no 5 volts. Yes, purple is the 5 volt standby, and I have nothing. Okay, so well, maybe the power supply is faulty. Is there a switch somewhere? No. I'm definitely giving power to this thing. I think so. Okay, well, I guess this is good news. It looks like the power supply is faulty. What happens if I turn it on? Nothing happens. Do I have any other voltage? I'm probably covering all the cameras here, but no, of course not. There's absolutely nothing coming out of this power supply unless I'm reading it incorrectly. But no, I don't see any voltage whatsoever. Okay, well, that's good news, I guess. Let me quickly test the power supply I have from the other box. And obviously, I guess that power supply, maybe I can do a video repair at some point, maybe on the main channel. And we'll see what's wrong with it. These also, because it's coming from the other box, basically it's the lead here is long enough for this motherboard, because the replacement I purchased, the lead was not long enough. I had to buy an extension, which, you know, as you can see, there's not much space inside that box. So it wasn't easy to fit. Do we have 5 volts standby? We do. Yeah, no, the power supply is gone. Amazing. Well, that is that is a simple fix. I was kind of hoping for that, because obviously that motherboard is not like a socket 7 motherboard that is simple to repair. Everything is big. That's a modern motherboard. So finger crossed, the motherboard is going to work. Right, let's try that motherboard and see if we have a video output. I'm going to apply a little bit of contact cleaner. This is lubricated contact cleaner. I really like this one. I used to be sold on a different brand, but now it's Contact, because it will make the ITX connector sliding in and out much smoother than without. Okay. All right, I think I've got everything plugged in. This motherboard doesn't require the 12 volts, extra little connector. It's a very low power CPU. The motherboard is still plugged into the switch here on the NAS, so I can power it up. And I have my capture device running. Let's give power to the power supply. 3, 2, 1, go. I see lights, yes. I see lights here on the NAS. You can't see that from the camera. Let's plug a keyboard, because I guess if I feel optimistic, it might end up in the BIOS. Let's give it a go and turn it on. 3, 2, 1, go. Dead. Ooh, it's not working. Oh no. Oh yeah, red. I have a red light on the NAS. Not on the NAS, sorry, on the case. Oh wait, it's green now. It's blue. I don't have a video. Oh, I don't have a video output because I haven't connected anything to the video output. Okay, let's see. That red light was interesting. I have no idea what that meant. Obviously, I haven't got any fan connected, so it's red now. But red might mean... What can it mean? Okay, I don't think I have a video output, though my capture device sometimes gets stuck on that. So let's make sure the capture device is working. It's working, unfortunately. So, right, now I have a red light. I think you can see that. Barely, it's a bit overexposed. I have a red light on the case. Let's try these again now. I don't know if it's sensing something, because this is getting green. The power button. Now the status light is blue. Oh, maybe it doesn't like the RAM. This thing doesn't have a beeper. I don't have any feedback, unfortunately, besides the video output. And these light here, which is now red again. Let me show you what happens. So if I turn this on, this should go blue in a second. Maybe. No. So I need to do this twice. So this eventually will get green. Not anymore. Okay, so now it's dead. CPU is kind of warm, so something is happening. I think it is okay. This is now green. This will get blue. So it looks like it's trying something. But this will now get red, and I think the on light will get yellow again. It sounds like I'm trying something, I'm giving up, and I'm turning off, and now that should turn yellow, orange. That's it, yes. So, okay, well, it could be a little bit of anything. Without a video output, I'm a bit stuck, unfortunately. But let me try. If I remove the RAM from the motherboard, do I get the same behavior? Let's try this again. Let's turn this on. Green. This is turning blue, maybe? Ah, okay, so without the RAM, it doesn't even turn blue. So something is going on here, which is not the RAM, unfortunately. Or maybe it could be the RAM and it doesn't like this RAM, so it works, it kind of turns on, but then it doesn't turn on. But no, it's never getting blue at all. Unless my capture device somehow... Am I on the right input? And no, so unless my capture device is misbehaving for whatever reason, I don't have a sync. Let me try real quick on my monitor here. You won't be able to see it. Just wanted to confirm we definitely don't have a video output. I don't want to spend 2 hours here tinkering with this, and then it turns out it's my capture device. Oh yes, my monitor is working. It's the capture device. Oh no, it's my capture device. Why? Why? It's a VGA signal. It should work. Right, let me try and sort out the capture device. Why? It should work. Yeah, I'm on the BIOS. You can't really see. Let me show you real quick. Yes, there we go. It's really small and it turns off almost immediately. Why? Critical failure. Oh, fan missing. Right, that's why it's turning off. It doesn't sense the fan, so obviously it says, I'm going to overheat. I'm going to shut it down in 5 seconds. Okay, well, the system is working. That is great. It's just a capture device problem, and it switches off. The error message is that the fan is missing. Great. Well, that's great news. I just need a minute to sort out my capture device, as usual, I would say. Well, I don't know why it's working now. I didn't do anything. I just reseated the cable for the end time. And I've also connected the fan on the system so it doesn't shut down anymore. And there we go. We got everything. We got one processor initialized, 1.5 gigahertz, USB controller, 2 gigabytes of RAM, perfect. Keyboard, mouse, and obviously it doesn't see anything. CMOS probably is depleted. It's working! This is fantastic. It was really just a power supply. I was struggling to believe that this system had a faulty power supply and something else. But when you buy stuff from eBay, you never know. And sometimes what they do, they just get broken parts from multiple systems, put them all together and sell them as spares or repairs. That's what many people do. But thankfully, not this time. Right, let's begin with phase one. I want to refurbish this board. I probably want to wash it as well. I want to replace the thermal paste, which is kind of simple under this chip here, because the heatsink can be removed, but it's not going to be as easy. I guess this is a CPU, and it's not going to be as easy on this one, because the heatsink needs to be desoldered. I remember that. This can be removed easily. Yeah, I just want to do the whole thing. But since we're here, let me switch this off. Yes, and let me test this RAM. I mean, I'm curious to see whether it's working. At least we can continue with this RAM instead of some random RAM I have there. Now, this is ECC non-registered or unbuffered. I think that's the word. And I think on my previous video, I was trying ECC, but it was registered, and that didn't work. So yeah, it took me a while to find this online. It's not something you can find super easily at reasonable price. So hopefully this is going to work. And I think it says here it's 8 gigabytes PC3. That's a DDR3 12800E. That's ECC unregistered. If it was registered, that would be R, if I'm not mistaken. So this should work. Again, it's untested. So we'll see. This is definitely switched off. I can see fingerprints on the gold contacts. So I always do. I always give it a clean. And I'll put some contact cleaner in the other slot as well. There we go. Let's see how it goes. I'm feeling brave. I'm going to try both of them. Well, at least it's the right size. It's also low profile. Is it going to work? I'm really curious. So I think this system came with 2 gigabytes from the factory. So 16 is a bit pushed, but I had a look online and apparently it's supposed to be working. Finger crossed. Right. Yeah, now it's on already. Do we have picture? If we have picture, that's a good thing. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't have picture, unless it's my capture device again. No, we have picture. Look at that. He was resetting everything. Do I have 16? Where does it say? Oh, 16 gigabytes, yes! Amazing, it's working! This is great news, because then it means I can test it on the other one as well. I can upgrade the other one as well. Great, fantastic. So, wow, we have a working system. That is great. I was kind of not looking forward to fix this board. So, first thing first, let me clean everything. Oh, we need to swap the power supply. I might need at some point to swap this power supply for a bigger one, but for testing TrueNAS or whatever I want to do with this little microserver, this one is going to be totally fine. This works. This should be the factory one. It's an FSP one, so it's a good quality. It's very low power. I can't remember how much is this. It's only 150 watts. I think the other one I got is 270 or something like that. Anyways, let's clean everything, fix everything, swap the thermal paste, install some hard drives, and make this working. Then we'll think about what to do next. Right, the battery is not completely depleted, even though 2.98 is on the low side, so we'll swap that one. Let me get rid of the RAM, which we know it kind of works. I mean, I'll do some mem test, obviously, and let's remove the motherboard from this metal frame. Ah, okay. I couldn't remember how to take this out. It's a little sticky. There's some sticky stuff underneath, just a little bit. I don't know where, honestly, but anyways, no, it's fine. We got the board out. I'm gonna vacuum this as well, and here is the motherboard. Now, yes, as I remembered, yeah, this is a bit not great. I think this is a south bridge, but yeah, I want to remove it. It needs to be desoldered. It's 1, 2, and 3. I have a feeling this has been done already. I see some flux around it. So chances are, because I think the listing said this was upgraded, so chances are everything has been repasted. Let's take a look at the processor. That's an easy thing to do. Last famous words, of course. No. This is factory, 100% factory, very, very dry. So I'm super happy that I've decided to do this. And this is, what is this? Maybe this is the drive controller, something? Okay, that's good. This is a bit stuck, so I'll have to use my hot air station to just loosen it up. Ah, there you go. It really took a few seconds of heat. Perfect. And this one, yeah, I don't like it, but I really would like to repaste that too, since we're here. But I think this is that's the CPU. That's the AMD Turion. Yeah, AMD Turion 2 Neo, blah, blah, blah. Perfect. Oh, yes, that's completely... the thermal paste is flying away. Perfect. And that one, probably I'm going to use a little bit of... might want to use some acetone with this. Though, yeah, I'm not sure it might damage something. So it'll take a little bit of time. It's no big deal. Let me preheat my desoldering station and we'll get rid of that as well. Okay, there we go. And this is also out. So I guess that is the chipset. And that's simpler than I thought, because when you're desoldering a heatsink, it's never super easy. Right, let me give me a few minutes to clean this. I think I don't want to wash this board, but I think I'll rinse it in isopropyl alcohol. Give it a good clean, brush it, remove the thermal paste, install new one, and that should be it. This is a CPU, the AMD Turion 2. This is not the South Bridge or North Bridge. It says, I'm not sure if you can read it, but it says AMD Radeon. So that's the the GPU, whatever, the graphic adapter, which is never used on this little thing, of course, but it's there. And this one, it says very clearly AMD South Bridge. There we go. Now the board came up pretty clean, I would say. It's usually better, it comes out better if I use my PCB cleaner, but it's a water-based PCB cleaner, and I don't like, just using the board immediately afterwards. So I like to wait at least 24, 48 hours before I use a board which has been washed with liquid. With alcohol, I feel like, I just need to dry it up with my compressed air and maybe, just wait half an hour and it's going to be fine. But yeah, it's not bad. Better than it was before. Now for these, I think I'm going to try a little bit of acetone, which I've recently managed to source. It's like proper acetone, like 100%. Let me focus it. It's just, it's supposed to be pure acetone. It's pretty unhealthy and dangerous, so make sure that you're using it in a very well ventilated area and with caution. Oh yeah, that works so much better than alcohol, I have to say. Look at that. Wow, look at that, done. Now acetone is not gentle with plastic, so you want to make sure that you are testing it on whatever plastic you're going to use before using it. Like this one, for example, where I didn't like it. Stop. Okay, so yeah, I need to bear in mind the acetone it's very effective, but it's also not great with plastic. Oh, look at that. Just 1 second. Amazing. I should wear gloves. I know. I'll do that next time. This, I remember, it took me forever. It took me forever to remove it on the chip. So I'm curious to see what happens now. I mean, acetone is also a nail polisher, but the one you buy in the shop is never 100% pure, I guess. At least not here in the UK. Okay, so this is difficult even with acetone. But it's so much better. So much faster. Look at that. Just a few seconds and it's completely gone. Amazing. Done. Now I'm going to use the MX4. I know this is like a random syringe, but the original syringe is broke. So I just transferred it here. I know it's probably not like the best when it comes to bare die, but I think these CPUs are going to run at like 40 degrees maximum, so I don't think it's going to be any pumping out effect, and this is so much easier to apply than the other one I tested in the other video that I'm going to put on screen right now. Now, when it comes to this heatsink, obviously, it's difficult. I'll have to keep it as flat as possible. But thankfully, if I'm seeing right, both the, let's call it GPU, well, the video adapter and the CPU, the heatsinks are the same height. So all I need to do is just to push on the PCB while I'm soldering. So what I'm going to do, because I only have 2 hands, I'm going to solder 1 pin. Well, I can actually do this, but I'm going to solder 1 pin so that the heatsink is in position, like this, like so. And then I'm gonna press it here again and reflow the joint. That should apply, yeah, it should apply an even pressure on the chip. There we go, and I'm letting it cool down while I'm pushing. And I'm gonna do the same on the others. So solder the joint and then push on the PCB, flow the joint, push it down, remove it, let it cool down, and do the same with the third and last joint. There we go, and hopefully this is going to apply an even pressure on the on the die, not on the heatsink. I don't know how they do at the factory. I don't understand why they don't use a regular heatsink with springs. I don't really understand that. Okay, well, I think this is done. It's nice and clean. All the thermal paste and thermal compounds have been replaced. So first thing first, let's make sure it still works. Right, hopefully nothing nasty's happened. Hopefully I didn't break anything. Let's turn it on and let's check if it's still working. Power to the power supply, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. And let's turn it on. 3, 2, 1, go. I think the switch, okay. Got red, okay. Oh, it went red and then it stopped. No, it's turning on again. I can hear the fan. Or maybe because I've removed the battery. Okay, it's blue. Do we have video output? Probably not, because my capture device says no. I don't understand this capture device. But it's blue. Blue means good. Yeah, it's just a capture device. It's just getting stuck. Right, it's still working. Great. Now, the next thing I'd like to do is to check the BIOS version, because this NAS has a hacked BIOS version. There's an official one from HP, but there's also a hacked version. I think it's enabling SATA 3, if I'm not mistaken, 6 gigabits per second, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get into the BIOS. Let me plug a USB keyboard. We get into the BIOS, we'll check the BIOS version. Right, so we are in the BIOS and it says BIOS version 41, and most importantly I have this tab here that says PCI plug and play, which is telling me this is the modified BIOS. Now I want to check my own NAS. Actually, I checked the video I made when I installed the when I refurbished and tinkered with my own NAS, and yes, it said 41 version 41, but it has a date of 2013. Now, unfortunately, most of the conversations on the forums, they're not available anymore. There is a website with the file; it's still there. but all the conversations, all the talks behind the scenes, I can't find them anymore. And I kind of remember that there was this thing that HP maybe upgraded the BIOS, keeping the same version, or there was something with, oh, it will show the same version, but it's an updated file. Now, if I'm checking on let me show you. Now, if I'm checking on the wiki for this microserver, which is absolutely amazing, it does say that there is a new BIOS from HP dated 2013. But here under the BIOS hack, I can see that there is a hack for 2011 as well. So I have a feeling that this hack, it says version 41, but it's the previous one from 2011. So what I think I need to do is I need to upgrade the BIOS to the official HP BIOS from 2013. It's going to be the same version 41, but it will have a different date. Then I can apply the hack to make it still the same version. I think the hack is not reflashing the whole BIOS, it's probably changing a few things. So it will still remain version 41 2013, and then it will be the current BIOS. I don't think that right now this is running the latest BIOS. Let me get the official HP BIOS, we'll flash it, we'll make sure that we shouldn't be able to see the PCI plug and play extra tab anymore, and then we'll apply the hack, and we should see version 41 from 2013. Let me get everything ready. Alright, I got the BIOS on this USB stick. I went back and checked my own video basically. Just remember that when you're running the HP utility, you will refuse to format the stick in Windows 11, at least this is what I'm getting here. You need to remove the partition completely, wipe the drive completely from the partition tool in Windows, and then the tool will work. So this should automatically upgrade the BIOS to version 41 from 2013. Let's see what happens. Turn it on, 3, 2, 1, go. Is it turning on? No. Let's try again. This button is a bit dodgy. Okay, it's turning on now. Let's see if my capture device, if I can convince my capture device to actually display something. There we go. There's not, if I remember right, it's a very, very fast process. This is booting into something. Yeah, 6 Linux, ROM, loading ROM, finish loading, blah, 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 erasing, lower programming. Yeah, it's happening, and say, done. So I think now I need to restart. I don't want to remove anything. There we go. And hopefully I'm not breaking anything. Well, I got programmers if something goes wrong, but hopefully I don't want to do that. There we go, we're still there. Let me remove the USB stick. And let's get back into the BIOS, and we should see version 41 2013. We can see that there. I can't remember what he said before. I'll have a look and put it on screen right now, maybe. And yes, this is 41 from 2013, which is great. And we are missing the plug and play thing. So now I need to basically change the BIOS on this same USB stick. I just need to move the hacked BIOS on it, and it will just flash it on top. So let me do that real quick. Okay, I've got the hacked BIOS on the USB stick. Let's plug it in, and turn on again. And it should do exactly the same. But this time we should see the extra tab and the right date. I'm hoping I'm doing the right thing, as in maybe it wasn't necessary, but again, on my own NAS it says 2013, so I'm assuming that was the previous version 41. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but let's see what happens. Yeah, the process has started again. And there we go. Let's restart and see what's happened. It's still the same version 41 than 2013, totally expected. And we have the PCI plug and play. So this time it's version 41 2013 with the PCI plug and play tab. Great, that's what I was looking for. And clearly before he had the previous version 41. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But it's working, great. We got everything done. Motherboard is done, 16 gigabytes of RAM. I'm really happy with that. I think, well, the next step would be to remove the faulty power supply, clean this box. It's really, really dirty. And clean the fan. It's a very nice, not to a fan, but it's very dirty. So I'll take it out, give it a good clean. I think at some point I would like to run some mem test, because again, it's memory coming from eBay. It's nice probably to give it a good go, but I'm really, really happy. We're in a very good place. We are very close to be able to install an operating system and actually have a fully running microserver. Really happy. Now this box is very dirty inside, so ideally I'd like to disassemble it completely, give it a good clean before I can think of reusing it. So let's get started. Power supplies can be dangerous, and there can be lethal voltages inside even when they're unplugged. So please do not open a power supply unless you really know what you're doing. This video is not a tutorial. Now this power supply is only 140 watts, and the one that I have as a replacement, which again belonged to the previous microserver, it's 150 watts. So let me say, I'm not looking forward to repair these power supplies, nothing really special. I might need to replace it anyways, even this one. But I found what the problem was. It's pretty simple, pretty obvious, I shall say. Now that's not what I would expect to find into a power supply. There is a dent onto a capacitor, probably it's been there since production, or maybe someone opened it, I don't know, but that's definitely not a fault of the capacitor itself. Either it's manufacturing or installation, or someone bumped on it. But that's not the problem, that's definitely not why the power supply isn't working. It's difficult to capture on camera, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but there's a blown component inside. So this power supply 100% went bang, and we might take it apart one day and fix it, even though I'm not really sure it's worth, even though I'm not doing repairs, because it's worth doing sometimes. But just this little power supply is very low power. Chances are there will be many broken components, and these power supplies are a nightmare to work on. So I'm not sure I want to fix it, but anyways, we found it. We found why it's not working. Now this is the fan power line, and I can see there's a little resistor on the 5 volts line. This is just used to slow down the fan. Now I'm going to use, assuming TrueNAS is allowing me to do it, I'm going to use fan control, which is a little software that will allow me to control the fan. So I don't really want this in the way. I just want the fan to be able to run at 100%, and then I'll just control it via software exactly as I want it. Oh. What on earth is this? Oh, come on, really? So this is the, I don't know, another massive bodge work. Oh, look at that, amazing. Just wires twisted together, and then a little bit of tape, which is not even working. Fantastic. I don't understand, because you go green with green. What is it? I don't know. This is so bad. Right, okay, well, I happen to have this connector, so I can crimp my own. Whatever. Anyways, this is clearly something that we can't have. Let me see if I might happen to have an extension already, because I have quite a few of the those Noctua fans. They come with an extension, and I don't really use them all the time. I don't understand why this would be needed. I mean, this is already a Noctua extension. Why would you need to do this? I don't really know. Is there a good reason to do that? To transform a PWM into DC, basically? Why didn't they buy just a PWM fan? Anyways, this needs to be fixed, at least at some point. I found these two extension cables. They're from Noctua. One is 3 pins, one is 4 pins. Now, the one with 4 pins also allows to connect a 3-pin fan here, as usually happens. I don't really know. I mean, the motherboard is PWM and can obviously work with the DC, I guess. I mean, it's a good question. I don't know, because on the other NASA, I think I have the stock fan, and it's working fine for me. Again, I'm slowing it down via software. I don't need to have anything else. So anyways, we'll make it work, hopefully. I'm just curious to understand why this is required. What is the advantage of rewiring this thing? Is this not going to work out of the box? Is the NAS going to report a missing fan? Well, we'll have a look, and if it doesn't work, well, we'll look into why that was needed. But for now, I've got plenty of extensions, and I can crimp my own connectors here if required, so no big deal. When it comes to hard drives, I have a number of 2 terabytes hard drives. Some should be perfect, well used probably, but should be perfect. Some have a few bad sectors. When it comes to bad sectors, it's never a good thing, don't get me wrong, but as long as you don't see them creeping up, it might be totally normal. I have some drives which I've been using for absolutely forever, and they had, 20 bad sectors when I got them, and they still have 20 bad sectors after 10 years. So we'll see. This is a test anyways. I'll populate all 4 drives. These are pretty heavy drives, probably plenty of platters. I hope that this power supply has juice to run at least 4. I know it doesn't have juice enough for 6 drives, and probably not even 5, but 4 should be okay, ideally, and probably, I mean, if this works and all is working well, I would probably replace the power supply with a more powerful one. Now, I'm not familiar with TrueNAS. I have my Open Media Vault on a USB stick running directly from the motherboard. It's very convenient. But for the time being, just for testing purposes, I have this very old 80 gigabytes SSD, and there is an extra SATA port on the motherboard, and this power supply has SATA connector, so it really takes me 1 second to wire this SSD, and so I can install TrueNAS on the SSD and just use, make my little tests on the actual hard drives. Now, I find difficult to believe that an HP product comes with 1 Molex, and then you have to install like splitters to power those 4 hard drives. Plus, this is also supposed to fit an optical drive. So lots and lots of adapters. And that's what I found in my other one, and I thought someone did it, because I couldn't believe that HP would do something like this. But once again, I think maybe the other power supply had 2 Molex. But yeah, it doesn't really change much. So I'll have to go with this. I mean, fair enough, it's pretty low power stuff. Hopefully nothing nasty is going to happen. But still, it doesn't look right. It really feels like a massive bodge. But hey, that's how it works apparently. I'll need another adapter here. Yep. Adapters after adapters after adapters. Alright, the microserver is back together with 4 spinning hard drives and 1 SSD. So let's test it first, make sure it works. I'm concerned about that fan. It might not work for whatever reason, and then the server will shut down. But let's see what happens. Power to the power supply, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, and 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, I think, yeah, it's starting up. Great that the power supply has enough juice for it. And I'd like to see how many drives this is detecting. Got 16 gigs of RAM. Oh, critical fan missing. So yeah, there is something with the fan that it doesn't like. So that botch work had a reason. Let me try and understand. No, it's shutting off. It's shutting down. Yes. Let me try and understand why that botch work worked, and then I guess can resolder this somehow and see if I can make it work. Now I've temporarily wired this fan here. This is a PWM fan. So it should work straight out of the box, but it doesn't. It still says fan missing. So I'm assuming the pinout of this motherboard is non-standard. That's probably why the bodge wire was done. So let me try and find out a bit more. And yes, it turns out that the pinout is non-standard on this board, so the bodge work was actually needed. Now, I'll do a quick test using just twisted wires. Basically, I just reconnected. I think it was the blue with the black. But anyways, I'll put a link down below in the description where you can find it. I'll make sure maybe that the link is not disappearing. Maybe I'll put something on my GitHub. But for the time being, I would like to try. If this works, then I'll complete it properly. I'll solder it correctly, permanently, let's put it that way. But first I want to make sure it works. Also, the connector here is non-standard. It basically has the little lips at the very two edges and not the one in the middle, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Probably not. But this has been kind of modded a bit, so it does fit. There we go. Now let me plug the fan, and then I'll make sure that nothing is being shorted. Alright, I think nothing is being shorted. We can give it a quick go and see if it runs, just to make sure the fan spins and the software is happy, the BIOS is happy. So 3, 2, 1, go. Yes, I can hear the fan spinning. That's a very good sign. Well, I don't see an error message, so I'm assuming this is a good thing. Yeah, I can see hard drives. Let's quickly get into the BIOS, see if I can do it. And see how many. Meanwhile, I'm making sure that nothing shorts here. Where are the hard drives? Right, the hard drive which is being detected here, that's the one on the motherboard. Does it tell me anything? Yes, that's the 80 gigabyte SSD that is sitting on top. So this is being detected, but there should be something else. So that's I don't know, I guess there are 2 controllers somewhere on this board. There we go. So this is where all the other drives are listed. We have the SSD, the Intel SSD, and 1, 2, 3, 4 hard drives. So everything is working. Let me do a permanent job here for the fan. At least we know it works. And then I guess I'll educate myself on how to install TrueNAS, and we'll start playing with it. I'm really curious to see what this is all about and whether it's any better than Open Media Vault. At least that's first impression. Alright, I've got the installation file from TrueNAS.com. It's an ISO file. So I've got Rufus here to create a USB stick, which is already in. I get this error message that says something about the grab version provided with the ISO file not being the correct one. Yes to connect to the internet and attempt to download it. No to use the default version. Let's try yes and see what happens. Yep. The USB stick is ready. Let's eject it from Windows and let's plug it into the NAS and see what happens. I'm going to plug the USB stick at the back, simply because I haven't tested the USB ports at the front. And I also have Ethernet plugged into the unit, and I can see it's working because there's a status LED here. You won't be able to see it. Let's see if I can show you. This little LED is telling me that the Ethernet port is working. Amazing. Right, let's turn it on and see what happens. We are getting an IP address through my network, of course. And TrueNAS is starting, so it is working. We got to the console setup, so let's go with install upgrade. And we are going to install it not on SDA, but on SDB. That's kind of weird. Why the SSD happens to be on SDB? But anyways, that's what we're getting. So we select this and we press OK. Yeah, by the way, the other drives are part of an old RAID. Hopefully that's not going to cause any issues. The instructions I found online says to use administrative user. I think it's replacing root. So let's go ahead with that. I'll set up a password here. I'm not going to allow EFI boot because this is an old box. I don't think it supports it. So it's going to be no here. And it's formatting the SSD. Shouldn't take long, it's an SSD. Well, that didn't take long. It says installation is succeeded. Please reboot and remove the installation media. So let's press OK, reboot system. We'll wait until we see the BIOS and then we'll remove the USB stick. But the BIOS, I mean the post, until the system posts. There we go. And now I'm going to remove the USB stick and let's see what happens. Okay, it's starting TrueNAS despite some nasty error messages. Now my understanding is now we shouldn't end up into anything. We should end up on a terminal, and at this point I should be able to access the TrueNAS from a web interface. But let's see where we're getting. And we've reached the console setup. Now, I guess maybe it was because it was the first startup, the first boot, but it's taken quite some time. Now, this is a very slow system, and that was the reason why I ended up with OpenMedia Vault, because my understanding is the OpenMedia Vault is the lightest of all the NAS software. And that's, okay, we have a failed something. And that's why I wanted to try on another NAS just out of curiosity, but yeah, so far, considering this has 16 gigabytes of RAM, it's taking quite some time. That being said, first boot with some drives which come from another RAID, so who knows, maybe this is confusing a little bit. Anyways, let's try and log into that IP address, which is very conveniently displayed on screen. And we are in. Look at that. Yeah, everything is here. We got our 15.5 gigabytes of RAM, and first time I'm using it, so that's it. Let me familiarize with the interface, but what I'd like to do now is to see whether the drives are being recognized, create a pool, and see if I can share them, and then I'll test it with Windows. Right, all the disks are listed under storage and disks. I can see the 80 gigabytes and all the others. Perfect. If I'm going back to storage, I can create a pool. Now, I'm used to the traditional RAID, so I'll have to educate myself on how ZFS works. But what I'm offered is a Stripe. Each disk restores data. Stripe requires at least one disk, has no data redundancy. That's basically like a pool. How is it called under Windows? The random bunch of drives, whatever, but all the drives have been used. There's no redundancy. Something happens, you lose everything. Then you have mirror. Obviously, you need at least 2 drives, and they just mirror each other for maximum protection. And RAID Z1 is apparently the, what does it say? The traditional ZFS data protection scheme. It's like RAID 5, one disk is parity, all the others have data. So let's go with that. And then again, it's not the scope of this video is not to educate you on how TrueNAS and ZFS works. I don't know that myself, but this seems to be what I would like. I can choose how many disks I'd like to use. I'm going to use all of them, so I've got 4 drives. And what is FDEVs? And VDEV should be virtual devices, so it's asking me, I guess, how many virtual devices I want within this pool. So 1 is fine, okay. Everything, to be honest, the interface so far, it's pretty smooth, it's pretty sleek, pretty well made, pretty fast, I'd like to say. Let's go to the next step. Log, it says optional, so I think I'm gonna skip this. I don't know if it's possible. Yes. Spare, we don't need spare or something. I wish I had spares. So no spares. Again, even cache is optional, so I'm not going to use it. Metadata is also optional, I'm not going to use it. Dedup, I've no idea. Oh, deduplication tables. I need to I need to educate myself on how this works, but I'm going to skip this. And then we have review. So we have 1 RAID Z1, 4 drives, 1.82 terabytes each. So it's going to be, let's say, 6 terabytes. Create pool. The content of all disks will be erased. Yes, continue. And we have our pool 1. Topology, everything is listed here. Usage, it's 0% and everything. So I'd imagine at this point we just create a share. We have our dataset here being automatically created. I guess that's like our partition. So I'm assuming I should be able to create a share here. I'm going to do one with Windows. So I'm going to add one. Let's call it, do I need the path? Mount, pool 1. That's it. TrueNAS server must be joined to Active Directory or have at least one local SMB user before creating SMB share. It makes sense. I need a user before I can do. I can create a Samba share. So let's close this, and I'm going to create a user. Right, I should have been able to create a new user, Tony359. Also able to log in, I guess SSH into the NAS, and also this is a Samba user. So I think if I save it. There we go, this should be usable for Samba. There we go, we got Tony359. So go back to share, add, and let's see what happens here. Right, TrueNAS is informing me that basically I'm using the root of the main dataset, and I might need to create another dataset. Again, obviously I don't clearly understand what's going on here. So I'm assuming maybe here in dataset I can create another one. Ah, yes. So now I'm creating a media dataset inside my pool 1, and automatically will create a Samba share called media. That sounds totally fine. Start the service, yes, of course. So now I have this media dataset within the pool 1. Right, now I guess I'll have to set up the permissions, and this can get a bit complicated because it's using ACL. I have the share ACL and the file system ACL. I know it's with Open Media Vault it's always a bit complicated, but anyways, the share ACL is by default set to everyone, while the file system ACL by default is obviously I got a number of users here. I think if I just leave the share to everyone and then I set the file system to just Tony359, it should work. Right, this might be working as it is. Right, let's try and access it on this Windows computer. Wow, it's working. Very, very simple. Can I create something? I can hear the hard drives. Yeah, it's working. It's yeah. I mean, obviously, this is probably just scratching the surface of TrueNAS, and I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. Please don't scream too much at the screen. But this has been like such a smooth process. Everything's worked out of the bat. No issues whatsoever. No error messages. No weird things. It just worked. I'm really impressed. Now, my only question is how well will TrueNAS work on this very low power system? You know, I'll test it a bit, but so far I am super impressed. I'm transferring some data from this very laptop. I have, what's that, like 15 gigabytes. It's going through wired network, so we're staying here on the bench basically, and yeah, I mean, it's working flawlessly. I'm honestly impressed by how easy the setup was. Obviously, you know, you really would like to understand a bit better how it works, but with my basic understanding on how a NAS worked, I was able to set it up in 5 minutes. Very, very impressed. I like looking at the RAM being used. Yes, I have 15.5 gigabytes. And right now I have 13 gigabytes of RAM being used for ZFS cache. I was told that ZFS was using quite a lot of RAM. I can't really remember the reason for that. I'm hoping that 16 gigabytes would be okay for, ideally I'd like to max this NAS app up to 6 drives for, you know, as much space as possible. Is this normally, I mean, is TrueNAS always using all the RAM for cache, or am I gonna see some performance issues? I've absolutely no idea, but again, my use is pretty basic, and as you can see, transferring 15 gigabytes has been very simple, no slowdowns, and everything is working totally fine. TrueNAS has been running for a few days, not that I have used it a lot, but it's there, it's online. One drive is showing a self-test error, so it will need to be replaced, but I was thinking of just ending the video here and say I'm really happy, I'll buy another one of the SATA boards, and thank you for watching. Then I look into that a little bit more, and it turns out that because TrueNAS is using ZFS, ZFS really doesn't work with those cheap SATA interfaces that I purchased for the other NAS. You need something which is HBA compatible, host bus adapter. So I had a look online and I purchased these. This is a Fujitsu D2607-A21. Now this is featuring an LSI 2008, and apparently this would be totally fine for the little NAS. It also comes with a little low profile bracket, so it should be more or less plug and play. I could buy one with the outputs for the drives at the top, but there is very little clearance at the top, so I went with something at the back. I hope there is enough clearance at the back. Now there is a little catch with this type of cards, and it's that these cards are RAID controllers, so the operating systems will talk to the drives through a RAID environment basically. And that's not what you want. You want TrueNAS to be able to talk to the drives directly, so you want more or less a dumb card, and I understand this is called the IT mode. And I really don't know about this one, we'll have to check, but it will likely need to be reflashed to an IT mode compatible firmware, which is not a trivial task. I had a look online, there's quite a lot of information and they disagree with each other. So I think I've picked up one which I feel it could be the good one, and we're gonna do this together. Now the reason for these high requirements of TrueNAS, obviously you need a more powerful system, you need more RAM, you need a better card, you need better everything, but the reason for that is ZFS. ZFS is apparently the best file system you can get for multiple drives. It's much better than the old RAID 5, and that unfortunately comes at a cost of resources, at a cost of better hardware, but I think I really would like to turn these NAS and my older microserver into ZFS systems. I just got this from eBay, it came from China, to be honest. It wasn't really expensive, I think it was like £15. I bought it without the breakout cables because I had them for other reasons. We're gonna test this because chances are this is coming already configured in IT mode. If not, we'll try and do this on camera. But before we go ahead with that, I went ahead and I purchased a replacement power supply. I mean, this is the faulty one. I'm currently using the one which was from the original NAS. It just doesn't have enough juice. I mean, it works totally fine with 4 drives. It will not work with, I can't remember if it's 5 or 6 drives. It's on the edge. It's running on the edge. So I purchased this one, which came from the same seller where I purchased last time. Apparently they have 48 in stock, and it was only like £20. This is 270 watts. It's an FSP, so supposed to be high quality, and I believe it's in good shape. Now, one thing I'd like to do this time is to swap the harness. I need a longer harness. With the other NAS, I purchased an extension. The extension is too long. There's not much space in the NAS. It's not very elegant. So on this occasion, I think I'd like just to swap the harness, and I think I will keep the SATA harness as well. So I have the best of both worlds. I don't need the 12 volts for the CPU because the motherboard doesn't need it. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this and install this one instead, and hopefully maybe I can install some extra Molecs because we need them. I'm basically going to make the best of both worlds and see what we can get out of it. But first thing first, I think I'd like to test this because I got it the other day through the post. I don't really know whether it's working, so let's give it a quick test. Now, this little breakout board is the cheapest thing that you can find, so I'm not gonna push this to maximum, and I can see some of the fuses are 5 amps, so I'll stay to 4.5 amps just to make sure. Just a quick run to make sure that all the voltages are there and nothing horrible happens. Let's turn it on. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, we got 5 volts. Oh, the fan is thermally controlled. That would be cool. Not that I need it, but anyways. Right, let's give 4.5 amps. Hopefully my fuses won't blow. Where is it? 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, we got more or less 5 amps. The fan has started. Yeah, everything is working fine. The voltage has decreased because obviously, I don't know, I guess probably something to do with this little breakout board. But yeah, it is working. I have to say the voltage is actually dropping quite a lot. I mean, it's reading 4.8 at the ATX connector. It's a bit on the low side, and I'm only doing 5 amps. I mean, this thing should be able to do 18 amps at 5 volts. So 4.8 is a bit on the low side. Let's put it away. What do you think about it? I don't know. Anyways, let's check the other voltages. This is 3.3 volts, should be able to go up to 16 amps, but once again, I'm limited here, so 4.5 it is, and nothing. And it turned off. I think it turned off as soon as I turned this on. Let's reduce the current. I mean, I appreciate it's not great to just use one rail, and probably 5 volts should be used as well, but it's only 4.5 amps. I don't know, I think that modern power supply should be able to deal with that. No, it dies immediately as soon as I turn on the load. That's very interesting. It doesn't even do 1.5 amps. I don't know, either I'm doing something very wrong and I don't realize it, or there might be something wrong with this power supply. Now it's a bit messy here. I got my other dummy load and it's connected to 5 volts and it's set for 2 amps, so let's turn this on. Yeah, I got 2 amps coming from 5 volts. Does 3.3 now work? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, yeah, it seems to be working. Yeah, we got 4.5 amps and 3.3 volts is fine here at the connector. It's reading 2.8 there, obviously, because of this contraption here. But no, it's totally fine. Okay, I knew about this. I knew that you were supposed to have multiple loads loaded, multiple rails loaded. Otherwise, you know, you can't just use one rail at a time. Maybe because this is a very compact power supply and it doesn't like it. Anyways, it seems to be working fine. So let's keep the 5 volts loaded with this load here, and let's continue with the others. I'm on the 12 volts line. Let's start the load on the 5 volts. There we go. And now let's start the load on the 12 volts line. Yeah, it's working fine. A moment ago, I unintentionally tried the same thing, just starting a load on 12 volts only, and it shut off immediately. So yeah, that's fine. And finally, I guess we have the minus 12 volts, which is never more than like an amp or so. It's actually 0.8 amps. It's totally fine. It's a reference voltage. It's not being used for anything. And there we go, half an amp at minus 12, which is reading, it's reading minus 10. I mean, the voltages are not great on this power supply, I have to say, though it's not the first one I'm seeing with a minus 12 volts wildly off, I guess. I don't know. What do you think about it? Do you think this is okay? I don't think there's any way to adjust any voltages inside this thing. Anyways, let's say the power supply is working. It seems to be working. I'm a bit concerned about the 5 volts. But let me swap the wiring, the harness. I won't spend an hour doing it, so I might do a little bit of editing wizardry here. And no, I've decided not to swap the harnesses simply because it took me a while to realize that all the wires, they have a ferrule with some sort of hooks, which basically prevents the harness from being pulled out. I guess it makes the assembly of those PCBs easier because you plug the cables in and it doesn't come out, so you can proceed with the soldering. So no, I'll buy an extension because it takes forever. I'm probably going to burn the PCB, burn the wires and everything. Happy days. Let's move on to the LSI board. Actually, before we move to the Fujitsu card, I realized while I was reassembling the FSP, there is a trimmer. It says Sense on it. So I'm wondering whether maybe I should tinker with it and see whether we can get better 5 volts. So I got a little setup here. It's a motherboard, it's a hard drive, everything is wired to the power supply, including the 12 volts line for the CPU. I can't remember what processor it is. I think it's a quad core, so it's getting something out of the power supply. It's not nothing. And I got the Fluke wire to the plus 5 volts. So hopefully I'm not going to break anything, but let's give it a go. I'm curious to see whether that 5 volts is a little bit adjustable. And before we move on, please don't open power supplies unless you really do what you're doing. There are lethal voltages inside these things. So this is not a tutorial, you take responsibility. Let's power this on. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, yeah, I mean, power supply is spinning. Actually, the voltage is kind of fine. I mean, obviously I'm not drawing a lot, but 5.1, it is totally fine here. So why was I reading 4.8 earlier on? It was only 4.5 amps. Fair enough, a modem motherboard, it doesn't really require a lot of 5 volts. It's more the 12 volts line. And 12 volts is totally fine, so I'd be tempted to leave it as it is, to be honest. I wonder whether that was just because I was only loading the 5 volts line, and now this board is obviously loading everything, 12 volts, 3.3, plus 12, minus 12, everything has been loaded, and the whole system is happier. I'm tempted not to touch anything because this looks totally fine. So let's move on to the Fujitsu card. Alright, I got this Gigabyte motherboard, which is being powered by the very power supply that we tested earlier on. Got the Fujitsu card here, let's plug it in. And I have 2 hard drives plugged to the Fujitsu card just to make sure that both the SAS or SATA ports are working. So let's turn it on and see, we should see the BIOS of the card, the Mega RAID BIOS. And there we go, LSI, Mega RAID, SAS, blah, blah, blah. It will try and look for devices. I'll probably shorten this sequence in post-production because these cards are notoriously slow in loading all the drives and drivers and firmwares and everything. Right, we have an invalid SAS address present in SBR, which is one of the files that we are going to flash in a minute. But before we flashed it, the idea is that you save the SAS address. So it looks like, I don't know, either this has been flashed before, but it looks like there's no SAS address. It's not the end of the world, you can just make something up. I think that's like the MAC address. But anyways, that's what it says. So let's continue. That's the standard message. Obviously, basically says I can't find the previous hard drives that were connected to this card. So are you happy for me to continue or not? And yes, we see the 2 Hitachi hard drives, which are these 2 random hard drives I found on my desk. Happy days. It means that everything is working basically. Now, what happens if I get into the web interface? Let's call it that way. There we go, we have these RAID controllers, blah, blah, blah. Firmware version, I don't see a -IT after it. I think that's what it should say if it was in IT mode, I'm thinking. And this is the web BIOS where you create the RAID. And ideally, I can get these 2 drives and make a RAID 1 or 0 or something. And then the operating system would only see the logic volume through the RAID card. So, well, it seems to be working fine, at least from this basic thing. I can see the drives and the card seems to be working fine. There is a green LED flashing where it says HP. I don't know what that means. Well, there's another error LED and it doesn't say anything. So, let me put together the files that I need to apparently flash this card and we'll give it a go. And by the way, under the controller properties, under serial number, it says none. I'm not sure whether that can be somehow reflashed. Really not the end of the world. I'm just wondering what happened to this controller. I mean, where is coming to me without the serial number and apparently without a SAS number as well. All right, as I said, there's quite a lot of information online about flashing one of these cards in various different languages from quite a few years ago, by the way. I'm going to use this guide I found on davewinfield.com. Thank you, Dave, for taking the time to put this together, which is referring to a forum, very long thread on unraid.net. So all the links are here, all the information is here. I haven't tested this myself, so we'll give it a go. But all the links for the files are here, even though they're crossed, they're not available anymore, but they are. So the first thing we need to do, we need to create a bootable USB stick with some files in it. And at the beginning, we will need to get into a standard MS-DOS. I'm going to use FreeDOS from Rufus to get into the USB stick and run some commands. Later on, apparently, we're going to need a UEFI-capable motherboard, and apparently there's a UEFI prompt. I didn't even know it existed. And thankfully, I have a spare motherboard here, which should support UEFI, should have a UEFI BIOS, and in theory, it should have a UEFI command prompt or whatever it's called. So first thing first, I got Rufus here, and I'm going to create a bootable drive using FreeDOS. And that's it. It's going to be an empty stick. So let's click on Start. Yeah, I'm going to delete everything. And my USB stick is done. You can see my USB stick with just the booting file. Now I have some files which I got from the same website. That's it. You can download the files you need from here and here. And I'm going to copy those files on the USB stick. These are the files. Just select everything and copy everything. I'm assuming on the root of the USB stick, I also have command com and config sys, bootutil. I don't know when it's going to work, but let's see. Let's just follow the instructions to the letter and see what happens. There we go. We got all our files in the USB stick. And now let's see whether we can boot with this USB stick on this motherboard with the controller on. Well, it looks like the USB stick works. We are in DOS. And I think we have all the files that we need. Some of the files are with a tilde, because obviously they were created in a more modern environment. Let's proceed with the first steps. Right, I'm running this command, which is not exactly what was mentioned on Dave's website. This is basically to make sure that the command could see the adapter, and yes, it's printing all the information. The point of this was just to save the serial number, I think, and the SAS address, actually. Obviously, it's printing everything. We don't need that, but at least we know that the adapter is being detected. So let's recall this one. And the command is complete. I'm assuming that sasaddress.txt is empty. Oh, no, actually the SAS address is available, so I don't know why I was mentioning that. Well, happy days, we got something. Just out of curiosity, this is not in the list. Do we also have a serial number in that list of parameter? No, well, serial.txt is empty. Well, I'm not entirely sure whether the field is called serial number. Well, I've saved the whole parameter into a text file, so later on we can see I can't find a better editor than type on this FreeDOS. Let's continue with what the website says. So the next parameter is basically to extract and save the SBR. I think it's some sort of a boot thing that tells the card what it is, something like that. There's a number of things. There's the SBR, various different firmwares and ROMs and whatever. I don't really understand. I'm just following the instructions. But I understand that the SDR is something pretty important. So that would be megarec. Yes. There we go. That's the command. Type enter. Hit enter. Right, this has been running for a while with no feedback whatsoever, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I'm only reading the SBR, so I don't think anything nasty can happen. And I understand it's difficult to break these boards, and worst case scenario, I think I have a programmer probably. Shouldn't be a big deal. I shouldn't say that, but anyways, let me try and stop this. I mean, I don't think this should be a very long process. Nothing. The system is not frozen. But this is stuck in there. What do I do? What am I doing now? I guess I'll give it another few minutes. All right, well, this is not working, so I'll try and restart the system, and finger crossed. Well, at least the system restarts, and let's see where we are getting there. I know this doesn't seem to be working, so I'll have to look into it and hopefully come up with something. Right, I moved to the other motherboard. It's ASRock H61M. This supports UEFI, if I'm saying that right, but also the standard DOS. So when you select the boot manager, you can choose between the two. So let's go with the standard USB blah blah blah, not the UEFI one. Okay, well, this is much faster. Let me just run, Mega Rec. Does it work? Because on the other motherboard, it wouldn't even run by itself. Oh, this is running. So let's plug the... do I have a slot here? Yes. Let's plug the Fujitsu and see if by any chance it works here. The card is being detected on this board as well, so that is good news. Hopefully it works on this one. I don't understand why it shouldn't work on another board, also considering this is supposed to run on old servers, old boards. This is totally designed to work on old stuff. But I don't know, maybe the software is not. And yes, well, the Mega Rec seems to be working. There is a command to just show the adapters. And yes, we can see one adapter, slot 1, device function, blah, blah, blah. So this seems to be working. Yeah, type 2008. Happy days. I have a feeling it's going to work now. So let's try and save the SBR again. Yes, now we have some. Look at that. It's taken 1 second. What was wrong with the other card, with the other motherboard? I don't understand. There must be something in the BIOS maybe or something. It's so weird. Anyways, happy days. Let's continue with the next step. Now we are about to write a new SBR to this card. So it's going to be this command here. This card is a -A21 model, so that's why we have the SBR -A21, which should work for this very card. Cross our fingers. Yeah, that worked. Perfect. Now I think I understand we need to wipe the card, and I think at some point we'll have to restart. And Mega Rec is raising the flash chip, which is 16 megabyte here. Right, that completed fine. The card is apparently now blank. We need to boot back into the system in UEFI mode. So let's try that. And notice that this time it didn't go into the ROM because we wiped everything, so it didn't read the LSI Mega RAID or whatever. It went straight into the post options. And this time I'm going to select UEFI and hopefully it's gonna work. Yes, okay. It's very small, unfortunately. I'm sorry. There we go. We have shell. I didn't know this even existed. So apparently, to mount my USB stick, it's gonna be FS0 column. And I guess there's a dir as well. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's those are my files. Perfect, this is working. I'm so happy I have this motherboard because I didn't want to do this on my main system. I've got too many things and it's too easy to just flash the wrong thing or break something while you're doing this. So let's follow the guide. We start flashing the firmware and the ROMs or whatever it is back to the card. Whatever this is the IT version of the firmware that we are about to flash. The guide says it will error about it can't reset the adapter. As long as it did the firmware download, it's all good. And as the guy said, the firmware downloaded properly and it failed to reset, which we don't care. And at this point, reboot and boot into the UEFI on the USB again. So let's reboot. No, how do we reboot here? I can't restart anymore? I can't type anything? Is it my capture device? I don't think so. No, it's not my capture device. It looks like the computer is frozen somehow. Well, I don't know. Let's turn it off and on again, like the old-fashioned way. Or let's restart it. Let's reset it from here. We're back on the USB stick. Perfect. Oh well, I somehow forgot to mount FS0. but it's working anyways, so let's follow the instruction this time. Mount FS0. Yeah. And then we are already in FS0. Yeah, it's the same thing. I don't know. Well, it worked anyways. Now we are flashing two more things. Again, don't ask me what this is, how this actually works. Well, everything is working totally fine. The firmware was uploaded again. This time the card reset. The the whatever ran LED is flashing again. It wasn't flashing again. The BIOS, which was the other file, was flashed. So far so good. And finally, I guess we have the SAS address to add. So I'm going to reuse the SAS address I found in the file, whether that is an actual SAS address or it was the default one that was complaining when it was booting up. I have no idea, but I guess it doesn't really matter. And that's it, SAS address has been programmed. What's left? I don't think there's much. That's it, your card is now flashed. And there is a mention about the fact that if the card has two SAS ports, only one might work. Right, can restart, and there should be now a controller configuration page. Let me plug these two hard drives as I did before, and we'll get into the controller configuration and see whether they both show up. Yes, we have an Avago technology this time. It's not the Mega RAID anymore. Initializing, there should be a way to get into the configuration. Update and Control C. There we go. I think it's the configuration utility. Yes. There we go. Firmware revision. Blah blah blah. -IT. That's what I was looking for. Now, how do I see how many drives I've got connected to it? Okay, I think I only have one drive. I should have two. Yeah, they're both connected. They're both running, and I should have two drives. It's only seen slot 0 and not slot 1. I don't think there's anything else here, right? No. So yeah, let's go back. It's just a simple thing. We need to reflash another SBR apparently. Don't ask me why you have to reflash these things. But let's go back to DOS mode and flash this additional file. I am really happy I've got this board that can do both USB and, well, the DOS version and UEFI without having to go with different boards. I still don't know what happened to the other board, but anyways, this is working totally fine. I didn't even remember I had this board, to be honest. So, happy days. Yes, it's only one drive here. We didn't need to go into the configuration file. Let's go back to, oh, by the way, yeah, it sees the Hitachi as at the BIOS level. So yeah, happy days. Let's go back to the DOS mode. And we have to run this command. I don't understand why previously we ran the A21, which is the version of this card. I don't know why now we have to flash the A11. I have no idea, but that's what it says. So let's try this. Success. So apparently that should work. Just restart the whole computer, and I guess we don't need to go into the configuration utility. We should see two drives here. Yes, two drives. Happy days. I mean, this guide is amazing. Thank you very much, Dave, for taking the time, because this would have taken me absolutely forever to figure out all those steps, all those files, everything in one place. You find the link down below in the description if you have one of these cards. I will definitely go ahead and buy another one of these cards once I can confirm that it's working with TrueNAS. I got Windows. Oh. It's running Windows from one of the drives. I didn't even know I had Windows on one of them. But anyways, it's definitely working. Once I'm confirming this is working with TrueNAS on the microserver, I will go ahead and buy another one for the other microserver. It's really inexpensive, and it's giving you like a good solid interface, whatever is it called, HBA interface for your TrueNAS microserver. Now, let's get the microserver back, and I guess we can install this power supply, which I can't remember if I mentioned, but this is the actual, well, obviously we have an It's fine, it's a completely different system. The power supply is the one that I purchased for the micro server. It's been working totally fine, so it's working. And let's install this card into the micro server and hopefully it's gonna work. Thank you, Dave. I swapped the bracket for the Fujitsu card. Now, before I fit this into the NAS, I'd like to take a look under the heatsink. There might be some thermal paste which I wouldn't mind replacing. Well, whatever this is, I would say it's completely dry. It's like dust, and it doesn't even stick on the chip anymore. You can see it's an LSI SAS 2008. So yeah, absolutely. If you get some of these old cards, you might want to go ahead and replace the thermal paste. That being said, because we have removed the RAID functionality, I have a feeling that the LSI chip is not doing much. But hey, it doesn't really cost me much. It's only a few minutes. I don't see why you shouldn't do it. And we can now fit this into the microserver. I hope it fits physically. Alright, so that seems to be totally fine. Bear in mind, when you buy this card, this is exactly card, there's one version with the outputs for the ports at the back and one at the top. I mean, the sockets are going to be recessed, but there is really not much space inside the microserver, so you might want to go with this version, because I think we have plenty of space here. Let me show you. I think we have plenty of space here for the cables, while in here it would be just a little bit of space. It might work, it might not. And I think this is not in the middle of anything. You can still use the motherboard, SATA connector. Yeah, I think this is working totally fine. Let's see how it looks at the back. Yeah, it works totally fine. I have a screw here somewhere. I removed that a moment ago. Yeah, the card works totally fine. It fits perfectly well. So fantastic. I mean, if it works with TrueNAS, then I'll get another one for my other microserver. And since I'm here, I'm going to swap the CR2032 battery. There we go. Now, at this point, I think we could be able to connect up to 12 drives on this system, though there is no space for 12 drives. But I guess if someone really wants to improvise, it is possible. My only thing, what I don't know at the moment is, well, right now I only have 4 drives. I don't really need that board. But if I add 2, so I end up with 6 drives, do you think I should go with 4 on the motherboards and 2 on the additional board, or shall I move everything on the LSI board? Shall I move the SSD as well on the additional board? Is it better, in other words, is it better to have one chip looking after everything, or is it better to have 2 different chips so maybe they share the loads? I mean, this is kind of low power, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. For the time being, just for testing, obviously I only have 4 hard drives here in the system. I'm going to plug the existing microserver connector here, plug into the board that we just flashed, and we should be able to see the 4 drives through that board. Whether the RAID, the Z RAID, is going to be recognized, I do not know, but as long as I see the 4 drives, I don't care. I haven't got anything on this NAS. It was only up and running for testing purposes. So let me plug this into the LSI. It's a compatible connector, so it should be just plug and play. It's time to turn on the microserver and see what happens. Now, first thing first, I'm expecting to see the drives being detected by the controller. If that works, I guess it should work under TrueNAS. I have an orange light at the front of the microserver, and it's stuck on this. It doesn't move on, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on. What have I done? I have removed the battery, so obviously I've reset the BIOS, but that shouldn't really be a problem. Oh no, it's back blue. The light is black. The light is back blue. The fan is spinning, otherwise it would be red. Let's give it a few more seconds, because again the battery was removed. It needs to do something. Maybe it's looking for the drives which I removed. It could be a possibility. I don't know. Well, let's see what happens. Oh, okay, now this is my capture device. As usual, it's my capture device. Oh my gosh, why? Oh yeah, fair enough. It's already booting up, so This capture device has this bad habit of freezing while things happen. So it looks like everything is working, but it's not. I don't think actually it's my capture device, it's the OSSC, it's my HDMI to USB adapter. Anyways, we are getting into TrueNAS and we'll see what happens inside. It's working totally fine. TrueNAS has detected the existing drives that were part of Z RAID, and it just works. I got 4 drives and I can have as many drives as I want on the system. I'm super impressed by these little boxes, and they're very low power, but they're very inexpensive. They're incredibly flexible because they have PCI slots. There is another slot. I understand that some people use it for a faster not gigabit, obviously, faster Ethernet connection. I don't have anything faster than gigabit, so I don't care. But if you do, if you think of something, there is space for another card. I am so impressed, and everything just worked totally fine. So I can totally recommend TrueNAS. Bearing in mind that I haven't really tested it with heavy loads, as in I kept running this microserver for a couple of weeks, but I haven't really used it as in transferring lots of stuff. So far, in terms of how it works, installation, how the system works, the ZFS and everything, it seems to be working totally fine. I had 0 issues whatsoever. The only issue I had, it's one of the drives is failing the self-test, but there's really nothing to do with TrueNAS. Once again, bear in mind, TrueNAS is a bit more demanding, so you can't just install a random SATA card, you can't run it with 4 GB of RAM, you need 16 GB of RAM, possibly ECC RAM. You need a proper LSI controller or something similar to that one. But again, everything is very inexpensive these days, and you can find these things for £50, something like that, even less, especially in my case. So absolutely impressed. My next step would be to fit the replacement power supply. I have this here. I haven't fitted it yet because the lid is too short, and as we noticed, as I said, I decided not to remove it, not to replace it. I've ordered an extension. It's going to be very crowded inside here, but who cares? You don't need it. If you have 4 drives, I feel that if you have 4 chunky drives, you might want to replace the power supply with a better one, but honestly, the one that comes with the box is designed for 4 drives, so happy days. If you want more than 4 drives, you definitely want a better one, but once again, these can be found for cheap online. Next, I'm going to buy another one of these cards, and I'm going to fit it in my other microserver. I'm going to turn that microserver I'm going to move it from Open Media Vault. Nothing wrong with Open Media Vault. It's a lightweight system. It's totally fine if you don't need ZFS, but it seems like such a much better system that if your system can deal with ZFS, I would say why not. I just need another one of these cards, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make on this channel a separate video when I'm going to flash the card in IT mode. So if someone is looking for it, they don't have to go through, what is this video, an hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't know, and they only have to go through the flashing of the LSI 2008 card. Obviously, I won't take the merit, I will mention Dave's website, because that was absolutely fantastic. Super happy, and then I'll find some more discs. I'll find an adapter that fits in here, and as a minimum I will have 6 drives plus the SSD. I have bought another SSD. It's a bit smaller than that one. That it will go down here. What's that? Oh, that's the fan. Down here, so it's gonna be totally fine. Yeah, I'm absolutely super impressed by these little boxes, and they work so well. They're quiet and they just work with TrueNAS. I have my own NAS, it's a Ready NAS. I think it's more powerful than this. I think it's an Intel CPU. I can't remember which one. It's a dual core. I could fit a quad core in the box. It would be so much more powerful. 6 bays by design, so you don't need to do anything. You can just slide drives in, but it's limited to 8 terabytes, which means I can't really run TrueNAS. I mean, I could, but I think I'm now at 12 terabytes of data or space on that NAS, and probably 12 terabytes, 8 gigabytes of RAM for ZFS is not enough. And unfortunately, apparently, there's no way to get more RAM on that thing. So that will have to stay on Open Media Vault. So what can I say? I really had fun in this video. I wasn't expecting, number one, I didn't know whether I could fix this NAS. Number two, well, it's MicroServer. Number two, I wasn't really sure I could get TrueNAS working on it. Not to mention with a proper controller, with ECC RAM. I mean, this is beyond my expectations. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, as usual, I'd appreciate the thumb up down below. And also consider subscribing to this channel and my main channel if you like this kind of things. Don't forget I'm on Facebook and on Patreon, and the links are also down below in the description. There is a free tier on Patreon, so no excuses. If you don't want to support me on Patreon, well, maybe you can buy me a coffee. And the link is also down below in the description. If you don't want to buy me a coffee, well, I hope you enjoyed this little relaxed process of fixing, cleaning, restoring, upgrading, and installing this very cute microserver. That's it for today. I wish you a great day, and I hope to see you again soon here on my channels for my next videos. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Bye-bye.